Hi, this is Asim.
This is Sujoy.
This is Amrita.
And you're listening to Khandaan, a Bollywood podcast about the three main Khans of the Hindi film industry.
Amir,
Salman,
And Shara.
Hi, you're listening to Khandaan, a Bollywood podcast regular feed. Thank you so much for your support over the years. We now have a Patreon channel with bonus content and exclusive merch for those of you who would like to support us. Every dollar goes towards creating more and better content. Visit us at patreon.com/Khandaan podcast.
Hi and welcome to a new episode of Khandaan podcast. My name is Asim Bernie and I'm joined with my lovely co-host Amrita and Sujoy. Hey Amrita, hey Sujoy.
Namaskar.
Hello.
I thought something more was coming, Sujoy, but you don't even have
Nahin.
inspiration with the
Oh,
movie we're
I
talking
was-
about now.
Yeah, I was expecting something Eid themed,
Nahin.
Yeah.
like
कराची में अंदरूनी मुल्क के लोग अपनों में मिलने जा रहे हैं
We also have Yamini joining us. Hey Yamini, how are you?
Hello.
So happy you join us at all the momentous movies, you know. We roll out the best for you, basically, you know.
What's up? I'm very happy to talk about what we're talking about.
So this episode we are talking about the big Eid release. By the way, Eid Mubarak to everybody celebrating. I hope your Ramzan and your Roza went really well. And I think there's other celebrations too happening, right? Yamini, what were you celebrating yesterday?
Oh yeah, yesterday we had Ugadi. It was like the Telugu New Year. And then there's also like the Kannadiga New Year and the Maharashtrian one, the Gudi Padwa. So it was like a couple of them that were all coinciding together.
Yeah, one of my Sindhi friends also had something that they were celebrating yesterday. So lots of celebration happening, and obviously Salman ki movie hai, you know. So also celebrations, you know. But we're also talking about Empuran. Well, you guys are, because I haven't seen it yet. I'm going in a couple of days, and I'm hoping I'm getting the unedited cut. But if not, Amrita, how is Empuran?
I mean, I have very conflicted feelings about this film, because it's not like it's managed to do that thing where it has changed the narrative from whether or not it's a good film to all the other stuff that is going on around it. So, it's almost beside the point how I think like this film is, because they've just like everyone's managed to turn it into such a talking point for so many different reasons that I feel that nobody really cares now whether this is a good film or a bad film.
Can I say, Amrita? I think you saw it this Friday, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I saw it the day it
Yeah.
released.
So from Friday, you've been texting us about this movie, and every statement is contradictory to the previous sentiment. I don't know what to make of it. I was like, is Amrita happy or is she not happy? I don't know. It's like, movie is great. Prithviraj sucks. What are we doing?
So I'll tell you what it is. It's I was astonished. Like in the interval portion, I went with my friend Sue, who is not a Malayali, and both of us just sat there, just marveling at the scale of production. And this is especially true after we watched, or I watched Sikandar, because like it just makes it really clear that a lot of stuff that we are watching out of Bollywood is a money laundering exercise, because in Empuran, you can see every single paisa that they have spent on screen. Like there is no doubt whatsoever. There's like the scene with like multiple helicopters, for example, that I was listening to one of the, not one of the, but the DOP talk about how they shot that particular scene. And I didn't even notice the VFX in that scene that he was talking about, like it was just so well done. And even before the release, they've been talking about like how much this movie cost, and obviously it's all like blown out of proportion. But Prithviraj has been very clear that they've never, like the production team has never come out with a number on how much they've spent on this movie. And he said with complete confidence that once you watch the film, you'll have a number in your head, and that number will always be more than what they actually spent on it. And I believe him because Malayalam cinema is like really good with its technicians. And this is really a sort of show reel for the technicians of Malayalam cinema, but also for Prithviraj as a director, in terms of what they can deliver on a limited budget and the kind of impact that they can deliver at the box office. And at that level, like this is something that I've been listening to Prithviraj talk about since the beginning of his career. Like for 20 years, this man has been talking about like that one big action tentpole movie that he wants to make and how he can take Malayalam cinema on the world stage, like blah, blah, blah. Even before like Pan India was a thing, like he was talking about it 20 years ago. And in that, he's absolutely delivered. But if you're going to, a masala movie and you want to feel an emotional connect to the characters, then I don't think this is the movie for it. And that is despite a very harrowing backstory for one of the characters. And I don't want to give you many spoilers because you haven't watched it, Asim, and I know you're going to go watch it. But there is there's a lack of emotional connect, I felt. And that is very true. But like I said, there's just so many other things going on with this movie. I don't even know where to start.
Suja, you also needed processing after you, because I was reading your letterbox review of Empuran, and I also didn't know what you felt like. This is so confusing. Yamini, I know where she stands. You guys are being very Switzerland.
I don't know if I'm being Switzerland or being Russia. Because this is a movie, like, it's very conflicting because it's very brave in its storytelling. See, this is the special episode. We are here to discuss Sikandar as our main review, but it was very essential that we talk about Empuran because it's releasing in the same weekend. Both of them are mass movies in a way, and they are hero worshipping, but it's so contrast in how, like, one is so competent in its storytelling, in its technical aspects of how they present every single action sequence and storytelling and emotional beats. It's very by the template, but at the same time, how much the gap of talent is there between the two is why I think it was essential for us to talk about Empuran as well. It's more stark once now I've seen Sikandar. How much more I liked Empuran compared to Sikandar. But also it's quite audacious and quite it's quite far-fetched in a way, like the whole Empuran universe or the Lucifer universe of Mohanlal being this like international man of mystery, person of interest who's taking down international conglomerates that are dealing with drugs and cartels and everything, and him being chased by the CIA and FBI and being MIA since the first movie, and then also him taking so much keen interest in this family politics and the state politics and also like reappearing in Kerala to save the state election and just kicking ass in a forest. All of that just doesn't make sense in my head. Like it's very far-fetched. It's very much a comic book hero. But when it comes to the hero worshipping and the mass moments, I think it really worked. Also, the whole point about where the politics of the movie is, especially in the second movie, where it really is attacking. It's also telling the history of what happened in 2002 and post that. The whole villain in this movie is very much a figure of the right wing. All of that is I texted you guys saying this could never be made in Bollywood, and I can't believe that they got away with getting a release for this without any censors. Like the censors passed it, but obviously there's been backlash and all of that. So all of those mixed thoughts in Empuran is what I'm feeling. I don't think I can articulate it in a more composed way. It's all over the place because that's what the movie is as well.
Yamini,
And
oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, I'll wait. I'll let Yamini talk, and then I'll tell
I
you
was going to say,
something.
Yamini, please give us some clarity here.
Did you like it? Yes
I
or
know
no?
what
Yes.
Yamini said
So-
yesterday. Prithviraj is so hot. That's it. That's the line.
Yeah.
Prithviraj is so hot, Tovino is so hot, Manju Warrier is so hot. I stand by all three of
This
those
is what we
statements.
need. Like Yamini's fetish for Muslim boys in black kurtas. That's what we need.
I like you're saying that, right? And I was like, but where did this start? And then I'm like, well, it started with Shah Rukh in a black kurta, so technically you're right.
Shah Rukh raisified you.
Like bachpan mein no, this is like Lucknow the kurta, Pathani salwar, Shah Rukh, like bachpan wala. And I'm like, well, technically it is a Muslim man in a black salwar, so I can't say anything against that also.
Reel it back in, Yamini. Get back. Come back to Empuran.
But yeah, so come back to Empuran. So to be honest, I did again, like it really hit me when I was watching it that this is like what Sujoy said, like it's essentially the same like mass masala template. It's not different from the template of like KGF of Salar. Like even the way it's edited, right? It's like there is build up, there is like okay, hero comes, slow motion shots, again conflict, build up. It goes in that. It's just made super competently, and I'm like, that is what is really like what has drawn me to this one because I was like, I had to watch it. And the way I watched also, Amrita, like you were like, I didn't feel an emotional connect. I watched Empuran and then I watched Sikandar back to back on the same day. And that's when really, like when they say compare and contrast, it's like meko dikhai de raha hai samne ki I don't even need to compare and contrast on my own. Like it's happening in front of me. And yeah, to be honest, like I think because of that also, even when I walked out of Emperor, I'm like, it's a solid 3.5 star movie, like 3.5 star movie. It is a very proper masala movie. I mean, like, I think Prithviraj, again, there's so many characters that sometimes I forget that half these characters are there until they come back in. But I did like it, and honestly, I just wanted to watch it before like it gets cut, which is why I went because I was like, I want to see what all the fuss is about. So yeah, I personally I quite liked it. I think it was again, it's just competent mass masala filmmaking, which it's been time. Like this is what I mostly grew up with anyway with Telugu and Tamil and Bollywood, and it's been time since I've seen that in like actually made competently. Like I walk out, yeah.
And that is not a coincidence because if you look at what Prithviraj has been doing over the last few years, like he was in Salar, he's in the new movie, Rajamouli movie with Mahesh Babu. So he's like, and he's like in like all these Tamil movies also, like he's like really been he's been doing a sort of apprenticeship in Bollywood, in Telugu, in Tamil, in Kannada, trying to like really understand how this works. And for so many years, people have been asking like, why is Prithviraj in these like weird movies where he's, not even the main character, blah, blah, blah. And that man is crazy like a fox. So I'm also not surprised that, like the apologies that came out for Empuran and the cuts that they announced, etc. I refuse to believe that all of this came as a surprise to Prithviraj or that he was scrambling because the one thing that you need to know about Prithviraj Sukumaran is that he never met a conspiracy that he didn't like. Like if you watch his movies or if you watch even his interviews and things, like he will just talk about these international syndicates and these cabals and the Illuminati, and he will do it in a very, not like in a ha ha, the Illuminati. He'll be like, Illuminati. So this is not a man, and he's also married to Supriya Menon, who I think used to be a BBC journalist, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe she
She's
still is.
NDTV. I know that. I didn't know BBC.
Okay, so now maybe she's in NDTV, but she's a journalist. She's a proper journalist, and you cannot tell me that he didn't know that, this movie is entirely about the state machinery and how it targets people. So you can't tell me that, it was a surprise to him that, oh my God, like I made a movie about like real life incidents. And then the government is just like, oh, I'm going to come down on you like, like a ton of bricks. And then he's like shocked Pikachu, he's just like, what? I never saw this coming. He 100% knew that this was going to come. And he has, in my opinion, made it work to his advantage because, like now all the people who are usually snobbish, and there's like the Malayalam film industry, to me, like the best way that I can describe it to you guys is that imagine a film industry where fully 50% of the people are Nasiruddin Shah and Ratna Pathak Shah. That is who these people are. So they would have been there with their knives out for this film otherwise. And like the first 2 days while, the outrage was building, they were 100% there saying that, this is not a Malayalam film. This is not like how we prefer our cinema, blah, blah, blah. And now everybody is just like, oh, how could this happen? And nobody is talking about how this is not like a good film or blah, blah, blah. Or like Mohanlal has been done, like this wasn't worthy of Mohanlal's talents and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, that man is crazy like a fox.
There was a tweet from, was it the actor Siddharth, that says like Mohanlal doesn't read his scripts or something like that? Did you guys read this?
No.
Let me
But
find it.
No, but I have come across this whole ridiculous notion that Mohanlal didn't know what the movie was going to be about because Prithviraj has been very clear that he narrated this the thing like scene by scene to Mohanlal. Mohanlal is a producer of this film, and he has been like to the extent where like when like Prithviraj was giving him his roses and being like, like, oh, Mohanlal didn't take any money for this film. And Mohanlal was like, yeah, neither did Prithvi. You know why? Because both of them were co-producing it. That's why. So
Water is wet, guys.
either,
Water
like,
is wet. What the hell?
like either he's like, I mean, what is the argument here that Mohanlal is an idiot? Is that what you're trying to argue? Because I don't get it.
No, and everyone's been like, oh, why is Mohanlal being so spineless? Why is he like, why did he apologize? And I'm like, I feel like you don't know Mohanlal or what he's been up to these last couple of years. If you're like, this is a man who is like, going to oppose the the right-wing forces or whatever.
I would like to add something though that Amrita said about Prithvi starring in like Salar and Bade Miyan Chote Miyan as well, right? So like the moment I watched Empuran, I was like, it's that Thanos meme saying, "Oh, fine, I'll do it myself." Like, what must be going through Prithvi's head when he was starring in Bade Miyan Chote Miyan was like, "In chutiyon ko main dikhata hu, abhi kaisa banate hain mass movie." Like, yeah, there is a huge gap in talent when you compare the last few years of mass movies that have come out of Bollywood cinema versus how Empuran shaped out to be. It's just crazy. Like, I would like to see Salman getting directed by Prithvi, perhaps.
So, when Prithvi had his interview with Bharadwaj Rangan, Rangan was asking him if he would direct Rajinikanth in a film. And of course, Prithvi wouldn't commit to anything. And he was like, oh, I don't write for an actor. Lies. He was like, I don't write for an actor. I write a movie and then, like I look. And then he was like, but of course, I have a subject for Mr. Rajinikanth. And I was just like, liar. So, I was telling somebody else earlier today that within 5 years, much less probably, but within 5 years, I fully expect to see Prithvi making a multi-language, possibly Bollywood focused pan India film starring either like one of the Khans or like one of the big Telugu heroes or like somebody like major, because he has now worked with pretty much all the big directors and the big production houses, and he knows all the money men. And if you're somebody like, say, Sajid Nadiadwala, would you rather bet on someone like Prithviraj, with whom you've worked and and you have now proof that, like Empuran is making like, it's a Malayalam movie making like $10 million over the weekend in the United States. Like that's unheard of. So he's delivered on his promises. He's making money at the box office. Would you rather bet on him or on like, somebody like, say, Murgados or somebody?
Ahmed
So
Khan.
Ahmed Khan or Remo.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Actually, it wasn't the actor Siddharth. It was an account, Dearth of Sid. He says it's very likely that Mohanlal himself found out about the whole anti-communal narrative of Empuran only after the release. Just to clarify, I am only suggesting that he comes across as an actor who doesn't fully read or understand the complete screenplay of his movies. Yeah, I
Okay,
don't.
first, I don't know where this guy is from. All I know about this guy is that Shakila can't stand him. But those are fighting words to a Malayali, because I have a lot of issues with Mohanlal and like who he is and blah blah blah. But the idea that Mohanlal is not a thinking actor is
Yeah.
ridiculous. Like if you like a lot of non-Malayalis don't know his work from the 80s, which to me those are his like real, like every Malayali will tell you like Mohanlal in the 80s was a vibe. But we know what his work is like being in the 80s and the 90s and so on and so forth. And that man is an actor with a capital A, and he understands the movies that he's in. That is fucking ridiculous, that he doesn't know what movie he's in. Um, yeah. Anyway.
So I think all of you guys are saying that I should
Absolutely.
go watch Empuran. Basically,
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
You should.
okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Quickly, this also dropped in, and because we're talking about Prithviraj directing, there's some other actor who's now directing. Hrithik Roshan announced his directorial debut, which is a collaboration between his Papajan and Aditya Chopra together. Like,
His two Papa Jans.
yeah, coming together ke bete ko, like he doesn't get enough chances in life. Like you need to support him, poor bacha. So they're producing together Krish
Yeah.
4, is it?
4.
Is it 3, 4? I lost count. It's very confusing. What do you guys feel about that? Because I personally, I think this is a great idea. Like thodi mehnat karega, like get him to work a little bit more. Like एक job होती नहीं है, like दो job करवाओ उससे, like is I'm joking. I just feel Hrithik would be better. He's a great guy. He should work more. That's my big qualm with Hrithik. Like for the amount of time he's been in the career, he's just not delivered enough movies. It's like, if you say Notorious B.I.G. is the best rapper alive, he just had 2 albums. It's not, you can't do it. Like you have to just have more work. So that's my thing with Hrithik that I kind of find annoying. But I am excited for him to be a director. I think he could be good at this. What do you guys think?
I'm just like skeptical about Yash Raj banner behind a superhero movie. And what does Aditya Chopra bring to the table? That could be a good thing and a bad thing. Paisa, yeah.
Money.
But also,
It's
like,
money.
if I don't know if they are going to how they are going to influence the script or not, is my concern. If I actually am one of the few fans of Chris 3, and like whatever they achieved out of that movie, the story as well, like, and so I'm looking forward to it.
You and Kangana,
Absolutely.
fans of Krish 3, like was that the Heath Ledger one? Is that the one where Vivek
Yeah,
Oberoi
yeah,
was like, Heath Ledger? Like
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's the one. Okay. Yamini, what do you think? You want to be an editor on Hrithik Roshan's movie?
Man, I would love to, like, again, the only thing I want to edit more than like a good comedy is like a pulpy like film like that. Like, I mean, I'm not saying like this is like going to stoop to like say the levels of like Ram Gopal Varma currently, but like it would be fun to edit that, like what that would do. I'm excited to see Hrithik. Like, if we look at like, like big actor nepo kids who turn directors, like you said, you were talking about Prithviraj. Like, it would be great to see what Hrithik does with it. I'm a little sad that he's going to be doing it with a franchise film rather than something that's kind of, I guess, not, but maybe that is also a good thing because he can rely on the goodwill
Hmm.
of the previous films.
And it's his
Um,
Ghar Ki franchise,
and
no?
it's
It's
his Ghar
like,
Ki franchise
yeah, so
also.
it's,
But again, I did not watch Krish 3. So I, d- I disagreed with the naming of it because I was like, okay, you have Koi Mil Gaya, you have Krish, then Krish 3, Krish 4.
yeah.
Where is, yeah. So I'm like, ये गलत ही है, like ये सारा plan गलत है. So I
सारा
was
plan
like, no,
गलत है.
So this is Krish 3, but it's the fourth movie in
No,
the
Krish
no, this is
4.
Krish 4, but it's the third
So
Krish film. There's no Krish
Yeah.
2.
yeah.
Oh, there's no Krish
So
2.
Koi Mil
Right.
Gaya
Yeah.
Krish,
Right.
Krish 3, and this is Krish 4.
And then Krish 3. Yeah.
सारा नाम ही
Yeah.
गलत है.
Yeah, exactly.
Amrita, how do you feel about Hrithik directing?
I saw somebody say, and this was one of the samosa critics, so it's probably untrue, but I saw somebody say that the reason why they are hooking up with YRF is because the budget for this film is 700 crores, which is ridiculous because like no, absolutely not. Like the amount of money that this movie would have to make in order to break even is simply not a good bet. Um, so I don't know if that is the budget, but I do know that they've been trying to make Krish 4 happen for a long time, and Rakesh Roshan has been very upfront about the fact that they couldn't find the money for it. So I think YRF is funding this movie, and that's what the tie up is. But I don't believe those inflated numbers. And I think Hrithik will probably do a good job at it because like, technically, I'm sure he'll do a good job at it because I think he did want to be a director in the first place. Like he's one of those nepo kids that just by chance became. मैं तो रास्ते से जा रहा था and then किसी ने बोला मूवी करेगा and मैंने कहा हाँ and that was my daddy, like like it was one of those stories. But I think he genuinely wanted to be a director, much like Salman, like he genuinely thought that he wanted to be a director. So I'm glad that he's doing that. But the thing is, the reason why Hrithik's greatest hits have come with his dad is because Rakesh Roshan has that masala thing, like he has that eye for the emotional connect, and I don't know if Hrithik has it. Like Rakesh Roshan is a very rare filmmaker. He doesn't get his due in Bollywood history because everyone thinks of him as this B actor, but genuinely that man understands how to build a connect with the audience.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Hrithik
But
has
I
that.
also believe that it's also going to be like a ghost directed by Rakesh Roshan from a hot seat. Yeah.
That's fake.
So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. I think, like, because there's been with the whole re-release of his Karan Arjun and stuff like that, there's been a lot of interviews with Rakesh Roshan and stuff like that that's been happening, and I think already there they were kind of pushing the idea that even in Karan Arjun and Koila times, Hrithik was there on set and he cracked parts of the story and he was there in the writing room and all of these things. These stories are getting fed, already for a while. So I think, and it's true, it's like ghar ka business. So you understand what it is. Also, I just feel like Hrithik has that very meticulous nature. Like I remember, like there was this shot where he was coloring his hair for war, and there was just like this BTS shot where he was like, "No, it needs to be more white and more black and more brown." And I was like, "It's so like precise on what he's like focused on." I think that would probably make kind of a good director, and he's worked with, like you were saying about Prithviraj, right? He's worked with the best already, right? He's worked with the biggest production houses, with most of the good directors, and also he's worked with a lot of movies that haven't worked, so or haven't like been able to like, crack it the way. So I think he knows also what doesn't work and doesn't work. Like a movie like Kabil worked, but it's not at all his genre, right? Like it's not a genre he would be in, but it worked for him. And then there's a movie like the Suraj Barjatia one, which is like an amazing production team. He had all of the stars with him, Kareena and stuff, and that didn't work. So there's a lot of these things where I think he has a good understanding of what would work and what won't work. You are saying about Rakesh Roshan not getting his due. I do feel his best movie is still Kishan Kanhaiya, that also didn't get his due. I think that movie is amazing. Just wanted to add a
King
little bit
Uncle.
of Anil Kapoor in there. Good movies, all of them really good movies. Talking about good movies, I can't. Even I can't. Let's talk about Sikandar.
And we really like delayed talking about it because we're like grappling all the things that we can actually not talk about and like main reviewed 40 minutes in.
Yeah. You should see the chat. I'm just feeding ideas to ये भी बात कर लेते, ये भी बात कर लेते. Yeah. So Sikandar, shall I read the plot summary? I have it in front of me here, okay? Because I don't want to do this to Amrita. Salman Khan's new film, his big Eid release, starring Salman, Rashmika Madana, Satyaraj, Kajal Agarwal, Sharman Joshi. Don't ask me why. Salman is playing Sanjay Sikandar Rajkot, the king of Rajkot, becomes a target for Minister Rakesh Pradhan after killing his son when his wife donates organs to save 3 lives. Rakesh? No, not Rakesh. Who wrote this? Sanjay. Rakesh seeks revenge, forcing Sanjay to protect them. I thought that was a good summary of what the movie is supposed to be. I want to start this review on a positive note. I think, it's, like Salman gave us Eid. We should give him Eid back, like Amrita. Let's say one positive thing about Sikandar. I want to hear one positive.
The cinema had good AC.
No. No. You have to say one nice thing. You have to say, Amrita.
Rashmika looked hot.
Yeah, good one. Yamini.
The title track was a bit of a bop. I felt like it was a nice,
Sikandar Nacha.
No, every time he would come to like the drums and everything.
Yeah.
The theme, the Sikandar theme, it was not even title track,
Right. Yeah. Sujoy?
Man, you were there sitting next to me. I was hooting and whistling when Bhai's entry scene happened. The first one when Pratik Babbar gets the shit kicked out of him, and like obviously like Bhai ka bracelet pehle aata hai, then Bhai's hairpiece enters next, and Bhai's collar enters next. All of that edited well with the Sikandar theme. Slow-mo and the action sequence, and then finally Bhai enters the frame like completely. I was whistling. I was like, मेरा goodwill यहीं पे मैं छिड़क देता हूँ because पता नहीं मौका मिलेगा कि नहीं. I was like, I'm enjoying the freaking hell out of it. This is what Eid is for. Yeah, that's one positive note. I would say. I think I'm still holding that close to my heart. After all this while, after like since I don't know when, I found this to be at least slightly enjoyable.
I'm gonna piggyback on what Amrita says, and I think Rashmika like my few fears about this, I'll get into that later, but I think one of my fears was that Rashmika wouldn't, why I didn't understand why she picked this movie. I understand why she picked this movie now. Like, she looks amazing. I think she comes out of the best out of this whole debacle that is this movie. I think she does a great job. She has great screen presence, and I think because of her, I thought Zohra Jabin on the big screen was actually fun to watch. So that's my positive. um you guys have seen my excitement for this movie
Yeah.
just go downhill like an avalanche. Like, it happened in front of your eyes,
It's like the hog to a coin, it was hot for a minute and then just tanked, and then all the scams started appearing, and then it just disappeared.
Yeah, it just
Yeah,
poured all
yeah.
over us, basically.
Yeah. It's Murgada's twine on all of us. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go back to a couple of weeks ago when I was doing the trailer
Mhm.
reaction and things like that. I had a few things that I was worried about, and I want to see where we stand
Yep.
with those worries. One of my worries was that Murugados is a terrible director and he cannot direct the crap out of this movie. I think I was 100%
Yeah.
correct on that. I hit it like bullseye right in the eye of the bull. Like, it's like, cause Yamini, I had you confused for a moment, right? Like, we were like, Burgados knows what he's doing, right? And we then actually went to his IMDb, and it apparently hasn't been like, how long has it been since Gajini came out? That was the last time we
Yeah.
Yeah.
knew what he was doing.
Because I think like the other hit after that, I guess, which I remember being kind of enjoyable was
Tupake, yeah.
Tupake. But I didn't see Holiday.
I
And
saw
then
Holiday.
yeah, I remember Tupac, but again, I haven't seen Tupaki in time now, and I'm like, Gajini was 2007, 2008. मतलब 20 साल
Damn.
होने
2008.
वाला है.
Yeah.
It's about to be 20 years already.
Yeah.
Dang.
Rashmika was just born,
She's my age. She's not. She's 3 days older than me. Excuse me, but
2008. Yeah, 2008. Yeah. So, Murgados,
Yeah.
bad. Um,
2-1 review. Murgada's bad.
yeah. I'm going further than Komal Nahata. I'm going like super deep. Second concern I had is that the villain, played
Satyaraj,
by
yeah.
Satyaraj, he would not be able to deliver, like, kind of a presence against Salman. I didn't know Pratik Barber was in this. Barber was in this.
Pratik Gillu Barbar.
Pratik Babar was in this, and I'd forgotten also that Babar is not a good actor at
Yeah.
all. Like, it was shockingly how bad he was. So both of these Tingus and Mingus are going against Salman. But what I didn't know is that Satyaraj would not be able to deliver dialogues, that he would just be moving his
Okay.
mouth.
Okay. I want to defend Satyaraj's honor.
Please do.
Okay. Because this movie only stopped shooting 2 weeks ago. Like, I'm not even
Yeah.
exaggerating, that they were shooting up to 2 weeks ago. Okay. And it is very clear when you look at the subtitles in this film and you hear what is being said on screen, that there are portions of this film that weren't dubbed properly.
Hmm.
Right? So I am 100% sure that Satyaraj would have done like a better job at it if they had given him like enough time to actually dub for his lines. I am 100% sure that they just basically gave him some lines and said, "Ye bata do," like just record it on your voice notes app and send it to us and we'll splice it in. Because this is a very, very slapdash affair. Like, there is no concept of time in this film. Like, things happen. When does it happen? Where is it happening? Suddenly they're in the middle of like a Game of Thrones set. Then all of a sudden they're in like Dharavi, and it doesn't look like any Dharavi that I've ever seen in my life. Like, it is this movie is wild. It is entirely like, it's like a series of skits that is sort of loosely held together by these incredibly unconvincing speeches by Salman. And yeah, anyway, Yamini.
also so much exposition, like so much exposition. I am like दिखा दो, मतलब दिखाई दे रहा है. Why is it like नहीं, मेरी धर्मपत्नी के organs तुम्हारे पास है, and you'll go to the people and be like मेरी धर्मपत्नी के जो organs तुम्हारे पास है, and then the kids will be like हाँ आपकी धर्मपत्नी की जो organs हमारे पास है. I'm like, I don't need, like, sometimes when I write, right, and I have like my friends read it and they're like, we don't need this much exposition. I'm like, thoda to explanation banta hai. And then I watch this movie and I'm like, nahi, no need. Like, it's okay because so much, like, so much explanation. I'm like, I feel like half the dialogues are just recapping the plot. Like,
Of
that is
Yeah.
the
what,
scene,
Which was a very
previous scene.
similar problem.
of the
Yeah,
previous
which
scene.
is a problem what happened with Jeho too. I remember Jeho had exactly that same problem where they kept repeating the same thing over and over again to ad nauseum. So I don't know. These are the things that seem to appeal to Salman, and I don't know. But coming back to Satyaraj, I did not know he was going to do a Nargis Fakhri type of performance like she did in
Yeah.
Rockstar. Basically, this is what's happening, and
Uh,
it's terrible because
I'm just
it doesn't
happy
work
that
at all.
Satyaraj
Also, there's
reminded you of Nargis Fakhri.
I think of Nargis Fakhri a lot. I think she was done
Yeah.
dirty by everybody in Bollywood. There's also a moment at the end of the big finale where Salman kicks him and he's clearly wearing a pillow under his sherwani, which is like, I get it. Like
टूट
safety
टूट जाएगा
important है,
भैया,
but like itne,
कटप्पा बिखर
yeah,
जाएगा.
katappa cut jayega. Like
Yeah.
um, third worry I had was that the songs were going to be bad of this movie, or I was hoping that the songs would be good. The thing watching Sikandar is that there's no songs necessarily. There's like 45 seconds of a hint of a music
Yeah.
that comes in and then just goes away. Sujo, you were calling this the Instagram real way of making
Yeah.
movies, right? That's what you called it.
It's yeah, it is pretty much that the jumping on a trend. Let's choreograph a hook step here and there and make it Instagram viral, which this movie also has, like the trend of some video going viral and then shit happening, and none of these boomers who are making
Papa, ye viral ho gaya hai.
none of these boomers know what being on social media and what being viral is all about. It's just like video upload kar diya, and Satyaraj says delete karo ye video, and Pratik Babbar goes, Papa ye delete nahi kar sakte, ye video viral ho gaya.
But I think that's the reality for Salman Khan, right? Usne video bana di, video viral ho gayi. That's how it works for him. Like that's like, what else? Aur kya karna hai? Like beach wale steps thodi na karne
Yeah.
Salman ko.
Just going back to the songs though, like, and like how terrible they are. It's especially terrible because they make Salman dance with like other male dancers right next to him who are actually
Yeah.
doing the step. I'm thinking especially of that the end credit song. Like, is that the
Yeah.
Sikandar song? I
Sikandar
don't even know
Sikandar
what the
Nacha,
song.
yeah.
Sikandar, yeah. And there's those like those Turkish dancers or whoever who are doing the dabke or whatever, like
Yeah,
they're
that's
like,
what I was gonna say. It's
yeah.
like they were clearly trying to do a dabka, but like khud hi dab gaya wo.
Like,
Salman is hanging on for dear life. He's like his eyes are like,
it's elder abuse at that
it's
point,
so bad.
like like he literally, like, he's like trying so hard, and it's the most that I've seen Salman try in this movie, and I'm just like, sit down please, like, give him some
And
oxygen.
And then there's that Bum Bum Bole song, because there was this whole thing like, okay, I will get into this, but Salman fandom is going into meltdown. So when all of the songs were coming out, they were like, no, Salman Khan ki ribs toot gayi thi, his ribs were broken. So that's why he couldn't dance in Bum Bum Bole. And then in an interview, he was like, yeah, my ribs were hurting, so I was holding my hand. And then Anushka came like, ye ban gaya step sode. Like, to ban gaya episode. Like, that's exactly what happened with Salman. He's like holding the ribs and dancing, and that's the step.
Oh dear.
Also, like, even people who the friend that I went to watch this movie with, she was like literally shout out to Pratiksha, by the way, she listens to the show, and she was watching it with me, and then suddenly when that Bole song, like the holy song, started playing, she turned to me and she went like, this is Jai Jai Shiv Shankar. Like, yes, yes, it is. It is. It is that song. And she was just like, ये भी copy कर. Yes.
Yeah, no, but like let's break break them all down. Like the romantic song is clearly Dil
Uh-huh.
Diya Galla,
Yeah.
right? Like they have the lanterns flying, they have the drones flying around, right? Bum Bum Bole is Jai Shiv Shankar. The Sikandar Nacha is clearly
Mashallah.
like Mashallah mixed in with something else.
Zora Jabin.
And then what else? Zora Jamin, I guess it's something original. I guess like Farah Khan. Yeah, I
The
mean,
Sikandar Nacha one felt like Mashallah mixed with, you remember the song Halamati
Yeah.
Habibu from,
yeah, right. I had a bit of
it
that.
was
Yeah,
that.
Actually,
yeah,
her outfit,
Her
right?
outfit, exactly her outfit, yeah.
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 And Lag Ja Gale was like Lag Ja Gale, but
By the way, when we were talking, we were reacting to the trailer for Sikandar, and I said that if this movie is going to play that song at that
Yeah.
meter in the film, that I will boo. I didn't even have to boo. Like literally, like this was a crowd full. I went on Sunday afternoon and it was clear and it was a sold out show, by the way. Like I know people are talking about like how this movie is underperformed, blah, blah, blah. I want to tell you, I went to a sold out houseful show in Bangalore. And literally when Yulia Ventur started singing Lag Ja Gale in that auto-tune horrendous version, the entire theater started tittering. Like they were all just like, "Oh, like what is happening?" And
it's
because it was
Yeah.
so bad.
the song is bad. The scene is awkward. Like it's a weirdly placed flashback in there.
And
It's
even worse than that scene, it is like, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you, but
no, no,
I
please.
cannot believe what my eyes saw
We thought of
because
you when it was happening. I was saying to Sujoy, they found the best version to annoy Amrita. Get Yualia Vantur to sing this song.
But even worse than this scene, as bad as this scene was, there is a scene where Rashmika, and I'm giving spoilers because I do not
Nobody
give a
gives a
fuck. Like, nobody, like, even the people who made this film don't give a shit. So, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. So, Rashmika gets murdered, and then, like, Salman finds out post her death that he's been a bad husband, and he had no clue that he was a bad husband. And then he's sitting there crying. And also, at one point, my friend turned to me and she said, I think Salman has forgotten how to act. Because Salman is sitting in his dining table and he's trying to cry and he's talking about, like, oh, I was such a bad husband. I was such a bad husband. And then suddenly starts to sing Ajib
Yeah.
Dastan Hai. I was like, what is happening? And the entire theater was like, we don't know what is happening right now.
Also, why didn't he just sing Lag Ja Gale? Like, wouldn't that wouldn't
Yeah.
that make sense? Like, why are you singing another old song that has no?
Yeah.
I don't think the Ajib Dastan was that your wife died in a minefield. That's not the Ajib Dastan. Ah,
Oh, yeah, it was super freaking weird. And also somebody needs to tell Salman that if he's gonna grow a beard, then he needs to trim it a little bit
Hmm.
because and he literally it looked like he had taken a black marker and then just like sort of filled in the grays. So it just looks like it's like pasted on his face. Like
okay, let's not body shame here. We're all getting older here. Like, there's a limit.
I'm
There's a limit
sorry.
here.
I'm sorry, but if you're Salman Khan and you make like millions and millions of rupees by selling your Hindutva themed watches, then you can maybe spend a little bit of money to, like, get a better wig. Like, I'm
No,
just saying.
The first wig was nice. I like the first wig, but I don't understand why there's no consistency in wig. Like, why is one wig and then there's no wig? Like, what? Like, even the wig was confused. Sometimes मैं इधर जाऊं या उधर जाऊं. Like, and that's the problem with like that I've always said. His team is bad. Like this beard thing you're saying. It stood out to me. I'm a beard guy. You know, I see beards. I look at beards. You know, like have somebody correct it before you shoot him, right? There's a sequence where he's crying like for no reason. He's like his ears are like his eyes are tearing up, and there's no reason for him to be crying, but clearly he has some eye problem going on. Shoot that shit again.
Yeah.
Like do another take. Like these are the things that are needed, right? But I don't like the one another problem I had with the movie is like there's this running joke where he almost takes off his shirt and he then goes like baad mein.
Yeah.
But it never happens. There's no baad mein. And I think that's kind of like indicative of what this movie is. It promises ke baad mein kuch aayega, but kuch nahi aa raha. Like there's nothing
Also,
happening.
like you know how Bollywood like really flourishes in the reaction shots of the hero. Like something happens and you see the reaction, and that's how we empathize and connect with the whole emotional quotient of the movie. And Salman has to provide that hook, right? But there are places in this movie where Salman is just off, like he's just staring into the wild. Like there's so many scenes that they just left unedited, and it just goes on like he's just silent with the BGM.
I'll give you an example of what you're saying, right? Where the performance breaks is that scene again where his wife has died and he's at the river or something with Sharman Joshi. And then he calls him bro suddenly. Like he's crying and he's like, yeah, musse nahi ho paega, bro. It's like, how is this part of, you know, Sanjay Ratko's Sikandar's world that he's suddenly using bro to Sharman Joshi? Like, there's no reality where this is like a language Sikandar Rajkot would be using. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's just Salman freestyled it and Murgados decided to keep it in the movie. Like, because Murgados is a shit director.
Like, you know, before the release of the movie, that whole Amir Khan interview with Salman
yes, I want to
happened,
get
right?
into that.
And
Yeah.
you can see how much of a meek character Murgados is. And Salman pretty much bullied him on sets. It just feels like Murgados couldn't have probably like his say even if he wanted, in a way. So I don't know what version of this movie is out.
Both of them, like, I felt like the whole interview I
Yeah.
felt was terrible, and I think dropping it just the week before the movie released was just the worst marketing possible. Again, I'm saying Salman has
Yeah.
bad people around him. Whoever made the decision to drop that interview, even shoot that interview. Like, if you want to do a Sikandar versus Gajani, you don't need Murgados in there. Just have Amir and Salman talk to each other about movies for
Versus,
15
it's like
minutes.
Sikandar and Gajini team against Murgados, you know, it's just beating the
Yeah.
shit out of him verbally.
But he has no, he can't talk. Clearly, it's not
No.
his language. A lot of times, Salman and Amir is talking in Hindi. He doesn't even understand what they're saying. He says, like, what did he say? Which is, I mean, it's rude.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's very rude to do that. And clearly, like, these guys have a much bigger personality. And it's really felt like two seniors ragging a junior. Like, that's what that whole interview. And I felt terrible for Murgados. Like, but who decided that this is a way to promote or create excitement for a movie? That's the person that needs to get fired. The stylist that needs to get fired. The the director needs to get fired. And all of this is done by the producers with Sajid Nadiadwala. He has not done a good job. He didn't, like, what a producer needs to do is provide money, which he did.
Yeah.
Clearly, like, so much money has been spent on this movie, like the palace and the jaguars and, you know, all of the polos that polo shirts Salman is wearing, like 70,000 polo shirts he's wearing.
All the protein shakes for the gym bros that he is in there, in his entourage in the movie. Like,
dude, those were not protein shakes. Those are steroid shots, like burst or like veins, you know, like they
Yeah.
were like popping. So yeah, they spent a lot of money. But the other thing a producer needs to do is bring a good
Yeah.
team together. And that's where he failed completely and utterly. Yeah. Yamini, do you have anything to add about my thesis about everybody needs to get fired.
I mean, so the thing is, right? I love sitting next to Sujoy in movies because every time Sujoy laughs, I start laughing. Okay, like
It's all
it's just
unintentional laughs, though, right? It's not like, it's laughing at an epic fail on, getting peeled off the layers of how epically failing this whole movie is.
there was a point when you're talking about firing the team and the whole where I don't even remember what was happening in the scene. I remember, I think, again, Salman was doing a little bit exposition and like, I think Bachche ke saath he was talking to the kid and Sujoy goes like, this is like a being human
Yeah, it
sharing.
is. It is being human plus Salman's own version of like Satyamev Jayate, which Amir used to do on TV. It's him being benevolent through his on-screen persona, which I guess a lot of actors want to be, like in the exercise of building a legacy and how they want to be remembered. And this movie is just that exercise. And like I get it why Salman thought this was a good idea, but it's so badly, shoddily done.
I want to talk about the politics of this movie because it is so interesting and fascinating to me. Because this movie begins with Pratik Babbar being a
Yeah.
creep to a woman who used to apparently work in porn. Okay. Like, she's there with her child on the same plane, and he looks at her and immediately is like, hey, you're my favorite porn actress. I'm going to rape you now. And then Salman comes out of nowhere and beats the shit out of him. And he's like, that was her past. This is her present and her future. And therefore, you need to apologize to her. And I'm like, I'm so fascinated that that was the beginning of this film because I did not see that coming at all. Like, it was completely out of syllabus. Of all the things that I thought that Salman would be like, I shall take a stand for this, I did not see him taking up for like sex workers. Like, that was very okay. And then, sorry, Asim, you had like you had a comment.
No, no. Well, I was going to say there are like what you and Sujoy were saying was going to piggyback of that. Like that, there are a few surprising elements that I understand that for Salman feel fresh, like this idea of protecting sex workers, maybe, right? Also, the idea that he is a bad husband, and this idea of like this idea of being such a benevolent dictator, like I've
Mhm.
given everything to the masses, but because of that, I didn't even connect with my wife. That is fresh. I think that's what Salman connected with. And then this whole idea about Salman debating with his own fandom about
Yeah.
alpha males, which
Yeah.
is done in the most haphazard and badly written way. Again, the ideas are there, the execution is terrible. And the execution can only lie on Murgados, right? Like that's where it lies. And I think there are these ideas about, and it's a very uncle type of
Yeah.
liberalism, right? Like it's very like like बेटियां काम करें मगर घर में काम करें and काम करें तो like if the
Domestic
father
chores.
yeah, if the father-in-law is good, then काम करें, that kind of thing. So काम करें
and and
मगर
and
like
and
हद में रह के.
and the benevolence is then on to the father-in-law, who allowed, how kind is he to allow his daughters and daughter-in-laws to work and like fund it
Yeah,
in a way,
but he does debate that, like he does kind of like
Mhm.
change his mind, and he's speaking to the husband and he's speaking to other. So these are, I think, for that is what connected Salman. And then he just dozed off, like हाँ तू कर लेगा ना, like
It's
that's
pretty
how
much
he
that.
probably works, like. And then he's on set and he's like, ये क्या करेगा ये बंदा, ये कुछ नहीं करेगा, like. And I think that's what the problem is, like once you get stuck in Sikandar, there's nothing much to do, like there's ideas there,
It's
there's
it's
thoughts
like a
there.
15-year-old gets like lottery call money, and he has all these ideas ki I will fund hospitals and 3,000, 60,000 people will, will line up and they all get medical attention. But then you could have done it in the first place, Rajaji. You have 25% of the India's gold reserves, but it's just a single kid who turns up and changes your life. Like, what the hell?
Oh, can we talk about the kid though? Because that is actually the one
Kamar.
positive about this film. Like, I love that kid. That kid was the one person in this movie that could act. And I was so taken aback. I was just like, who is the star? Like, that kid was great. I'm usually annoyed by children, but not by this kid.
I was just gonna pray for say that for a kid that Amrita praises, it's either my daughter or somebody like that level of amazing kid. There's not that many. By the way, I do have to say, I was sitting in the middle of my wife and my daughter, and then
Oh my
Yamini and
God, you
Sujoy.
took them to see
Yeah.
this movie.
So there was like a gradients of cynicism, like top level. I was sitting on these side with Beavis and Butthead, just laughing at everything. And then other two side is like the most innocent, like positive minded people. And my wife was like, I like this movie, I like it. It's like, she's like, this is what I would do if I was rich. I would just help everybody.
Very unironically, like Vijay like Kajal, and then he says like, yeah, I enjoy.
My daughter was like, even to the point, she was like, when Pratik Baba died, Sujoy laughed so hard. Like, my daughter was like, why is Sujoy uncle laughing? He just died. So I was like, this is the perfect gradient of what this movie is. It's like people making it with good intentions, hoping it would land, and then you have, these two guys. It's like everything is like funny to them.
No, but everyone in the theater laughed when Pratik Baba died. That was funny.
Such an inconsequential.
And the way it is shot,
just recapping how he dies. He dies throwing Molotov cocktails at Salman's taxi from his own gypsy. So his SUV was in his own political rally. So he had cocktails ready in his own political rally.
So Pratik Babar sees Salman in Bombay in a taxi, and then for some reason he has the media project a shot of Salman in the taxi onto the screens where they are showing like his dad. I don't understand why that was.
He
But
wanted to
then
verify.
he chases and then he chases Salman through the streets of Bombay, and at one point Salman takes over driving the taxi.
Very jabbi met.
And then he's like driving the taxi, and then this guy is sitting in the front seat of his SUV, and suddenly he turns to the back and he goes, give me the bottle. And I thought he was asking for liquor. I was like, now he wants to drink beer. Like, I don't get it. And then I saw it was a Molotov cocktail. And then he gets up and he opens the sunroof, and then he's like throwing the Molotov cocktails at the in the direction of the taxi. And then the SUV and the taxi both take like a hard turn somewhere, and he suddenly loses his balance, and he sits down, and he still has the Molotov cocktail in his hand, and so he blows himself out. And it is the stupidest way to die that I have seen in years.
It's the cherry on top is when the secretary delivers the news to Katappa saying, "Chote saab guzar gaye" or something like that. It's just, it's such a 90s doctor. मुझे अफसोस है वो आप दुनिया में नहीं रहे. Oh dear.
Yeah, it's really really badly done. And and I think that's again like a director should be first they never really build up Pratik Babar as a
No.
credible threat for Salman in any way, shape, or form, and then they make him die in such an offhanded manner, right? So like these are the things that then just annoy me, you know. Like I think there were some ideas. I also don't agree that Salman is bad in this. I think there are moments where he definitely gives up because he sees the shit around him, and he has a sense that things are not going the way they are. But there are moments where he's like having fun, and like in the dance, and like the action scenes are actually quite good in this movie. I quite enjoyed the way it had that Jawan kind of like camera panning, slow motion mixed into it. Like Salman is throwing the hammer, catching it, and then
I
hitting
think
and
you
punching.
will
I
chew
kind of
on
like
your
those.
own words when you start watch Empuran and how they did the action in that.
Yeah, no, I get it, but I won't be comparing it necessarily. I think, like, I think I'm just
It's
taking it
very
on face
difficult
value
not
because
to.
this is
It's
all I
very
can do.
difficult not to compare.
Yeah, yeah. Because I'm really comparing this to Kisi Ka Bhai Kisi Ki Jaan. I'm really comparing it to Radhe.
Yes, so I did the same thing. I compared this to Kabhi Sawt and Kabhi Saheli, and I was like, this is a much
Amrita
better film
has
than
like
that.
sworn
It
on her
is.
life she's never going to say the right name of that movie. It's always going to be Sotan Saheli.
So I'm like, no. So this is definitely better than that. So when people are saying that this is like the worst movie of Salman's career, I
No.
don't think it is. I think this is about,
No.
like there's like other movies that he's been in that are way worse than this.
Yeah. It's a strictly average movie.
I
Like
would
I
say
said,
below average though.
Below average, strictly average is like 2.5 star. This is like definitely
Yeah.
below that. Like,
No, I literally gave it 2.5 on Letterboxd. This was like 2.5.
I will say one thing, right? Like one thing that made me actually angry about this movie is when I sat back and like I was telling you guys yesterday, like genuinely, if I could just get the rushes from Murga Dos, I think I would be able to edit it into a very coherent, like one
Okay.
and a half hour movie.
Let me what are two changes you would make that would improve the movie? Let's go, because you've been saying
Okay.
this since yesterday. Now I want to put you to the test.
Okay, see, my issue with it is that look, Salman, because he has to like he's the Raja, he's doing good things, but obviously there is like this kind of conflict that is supposed to come in, right? Like because you don't feel that credibility of a conflict. Like what is Satyajit wants to ruin his reputation, right? So I would say bring in that if you're talking ki like, oh, iska manager ne there was something related to a terrorism plot and that bring it in earlier, then cause actual conflict there. Like bring that in earlier, kill the manager, bring like a conflict that okay people are then turning against Salman because you bring it in the very next scene like sare misunderstandings are sorted, then I'm like then what is it like? It's a thing, right, that the hero has to go through that adversity or something. If you're going in like the basicest masala, it's that the hero has to deal with that. He has to prove himself in some way ki like maine nahi kiya ye whatever. So I would say I would have brought that in earlier. I would have deleted so much of the exposition. Like it's not necessary. Like दिखाई दिया सबको मेरे को समझ आ रहा है. It's
Like
okay.
Salman doesn't go through any adversity. Like he
He
doesn't.
goes
Yeah.
through no
He just shows
adversity.
up like, wait,
Like
adversity, you wait, I'll come with the spears and I'll pierce you.
yeah,
Well,
like
what was also funny when we were talking, it's he doesn't get adversity. He gets over the death of his wife
Yeah.
quite easily. Like
I,
he's like he's fine with it. Like mar gayi, let's move
I
on.
totally
It's like
blame on
wait,
Lag Ja Gale. Like, even when she was alive and singing it, he was like, Chup kar tu. Jaan de.
yeah.
She doesn't get to complete the song. Like in that recap scene, Salman actively puts his hand on her. Like, you stop. बंद करने के पैसे
Yeah.
ले तू. It's pretty much that.
And I think in order to, and again, another thing I would have changed is like, don't put so much of Rashmika in the, like, kill her off like quickly and then pepper in the flashback so that, like, okay, he is missing, like, he is sad, like, aisa kuch.
Hmm.
That in itself, like, that's what I'm saying. It's also the editing that is like, because even with the scenes that are right there, I'm like, if I could just do something about like at least make the adversity ki, like let me root for
Yeah.
Salman
yeah.
in some way that okay there are misunderstandings happening like people are against him ki like because none of that is happening, then I'm
Hmm.
like it's like I need to feel ki like, oh, how will Salman be able to then convince people ki nahi, main terrorist nahi hai, main ye nahi hai.
Even like the third foil he had was the police inspector, right? And he just alphas him
Yeah.
immediately. There's no point in, like, there's no thread there at all.
Also, I would just focus on one conflict then. I would remove like the police inspector ka jo bhi chal raha hai kachra. Just
Yeah.
like focus on just one big main
Yeah.
adversity, bring
and
that
and
in
like
early.
Also
and like
nobody has
saving the
Google.
three people, that's the main plot, right?
Yeah,
There is no
exactly.
real threat to these three people. They just appear and all conglomerate in this hospital, and then uh,
See, that was also one of the things that like really stood out to me, because there's that point where there's a slight bit of tension when Satyaraj's goons arrive outside Kajal Agarwal's
yeah.
house, right? But then immediately it's diffused because they're all like getting into a van and
Yeah.
walking off to the hospital. And you are just like, there's no threat. There is no like sense of, okay, I'm running away, like nothing. They just arrive and immediately there's nobody there. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, what happened there then?
Also, like,
You know?
they did not play into the nostalgia, or played the wrong nostalgia card. Say they introduced Rashmika in that holy song Bam Bam Bole as the pseudo Aishwarya in Mohabbatein, right? But
Mohabbatein.
what
Yeah.
Asim also suggested yesterday was, they, because Sanjay Kapoor is in here, they should have done like Are Baba Ladka Diwana from Ozar, because they both were in that. They should have done that.
Maybe they learned the lesson with
Uh,
Kisi Ka Bhai, where they did that with, like,
But
we can't do it.
I actually really felt bad during the holy song, because it looked so much like it gave me such flashbacks to Hello
mhm.
Brother
Chande Ki
and
Dal.
Chandi Ki Dal. And but the difference between that Salman and this Salman is
Yeah.
so marked. Like
And the thing
it's
is,
just too
like,
much.
if you have health problems, clearly he was suffering. You could see he's in
Yeah.
pain in that song. Take a break. Like, if you're not motivated, you are a gajillionaire. You're doing Big Brother. You're doing all of, like. Okay, let's get into this a little bit, because I think let's wrap it up a little. But the Salman army at the moment is in meltdown. उनको like समझ में नहीं आ रहा
Hmm.
कि क्या हो रहा है. Like I, being a fan of Salman's movies, I was waiting for this movie. You can say, Kisi Ka Bhai, Radhe, they were all kind of like COVID lockdown movies. Kisi Ka Bhai was basically, they were gonna make Inshallah, and then they couldn't, so he just kind of slotted that one in. Like, okay, you give him, but this was like, he's coming back with Sajid Nadiadwala. He's done Kick with them. He's like fully focused, director from the South. Like, this was gonna be the one. This was gonna be
Mhm.
his Jawan, basically, right? And it has not delivered at all. And the Salman ki Sena, Salman ki army has just gone in, crazy mode. Like, there's a few things going on. A is like the hashtag going around, Salman, please know your worth. That's the one is going around. Then there's then, like, oh, Salman bodybuilding ka baap hai, tera baap baad mein aaya, apun ka baap ye wo, and all that. So that's going around, but wo to hota rehta hai. And then there's also this thing about, like, Salman Khan, you can never compete with him because 10 years ago he had all of the hits. So this is how they're trying to cope with the whole situation. But then there's also this very sincere fan. And I want to put this question to you. What should Salman do now? Yamini.
So this I was saying yesterday, right? Because I had watched Empuran right before that, and then I had watched this. And again, Empuran is like, look, you're showing Mohanlal, who is a couple of years older than Salman. I think Mohanlal is now going to be like 65, so he's like literally about like half a decade older than Salman, and he's being positioned as the hero, right? He gets to have his mass scenes, he gets to have his elevations, he gets to be doing all of that, right? And like I know I said earlier ki like okay like uncle ko thoda rest karne do like Salman ko, but it's like I looked at what Mohanlal was doing and I'm like, Salman could actually be doing something like this. My issue with Salman is one, like it's probably the same thing, like again, people don't know how to control Salman on set, therefore they just like let him, like as in they get pushed around and do whatever they like. Salman does whatever he wants. But it's also that Salman doesn't need to be exerting himself to be positioned as an actual mass hero. And it literally, like, watching Empuran, like, made that so stark, because even when you look at like the Sikandar Eye song, like, he doesn't look bad when he's wearing that black thing. Like, he actually looks like, I see glimpses of the hero that I used to like many, many years ago. And I'm like, I just need people who can like yell at him and be like, please, like, just let me position you as like a proper hero. Because it's not like, I mean, again, if we go back to like Pathan also, like, there was something that was very, that was like captured when he comes in Pathan, right? Like, it's, I don't think he needs to be doing, like, exerting himself to be actually positioned as a mass hero. It's just that, like, he just needs to work with people who can get under his
Can
skin.
challenge him,
Yeah.
basically, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Go
For
ahead, Amrita.
me, like, I agree with what Yamini is saying in that when you have attained that level of stardom, then you don't need to convince people that you can do like these kinds of things, right? You show up and you show up with your baggage. What you were saying about, like, Amrish Puri from the 80s Asan, like, you show up with the weight of all the roles that you've done before, and it immediately tells the audience, like, this guy is a badass. So what Yamini is saying is, I absolutely get it. That's what Rajnikant is doing, for instance, in Tamil. Like, Rajnikant doesn't show up and be like, if you saw Jailer,
Yeah.
for instance, he's not trying very hard to do anything. Even the songs that he's doing, it's like the most low effort steps that he's doing. This is not Rajni
Yeah.
from the 90s. This is very much, Rajni from 2024. And Salman, if he does that, like, I think that genuine, if he wants to continue making these kinds of movies, I think that is genuinely the only way that he can go forward. But in the near future, I think he really needs to take a break and fix whatever is wrong with him medically, because the man is in serious pain. You can see that, like, in real life, you can see that. And then he's got like this whole assassination thing going. Like, there's multiple things going on in his life. And I don't think he's dealt with any of those things, like, he's like going from like one thing to the next
The
thing to the next
the
thing.
jail thing is still pending. That's not done. He's still doing Big Brother all the time. Like, he's like always on TV. He's doing ads. He's doing all of this. Like it's constantly on. Like, he's doing a tour. Like, he's doing a musical concert soon with pretty much everybody he's bringing along again. Like, he's like constantly working, and I don't, like, a machine will break, and I think we're seeing it break in Sikandar. So, Joy, what do you think Salman
He
should do?
should take a break. So I'm currently watching Elementary, or rewatching Elementary, and there is a big hook when he, like, Sherlock just leaves midway and takes a break, and Watson, pushes him to take a break, and then he comes back all rejuvenated. I think that's the path that Salman should take. I know that he has to feed the hungry mouths of Galaxy Apartments, and like everybody who feeds off that. But he should actively, like, take care of himself before he can venture out and make movies, because we are dying to see a good Salman, and before he can do that, he has to be healthy, in the right, physical form and right mental
Yeah.
form to make a movie. B, he should only collaborate with people who don't sort of revere him or see him like this untouchable, character that they can't say no to, that they can't, direct him in a way. It feels like, all the people that are associated with him creatively are sort of the yes men, and he should definitely steer away from that. He should fire everybody, as Asim said, and just get a new team altogether.
Yeah. So I'm kind of the idea of what Akshay Kumar says. He always says, if I do less work, there's no
Mhm.
guarantee that that less work will be good work. And I agree with that. I don't think Salman should take a break from movies at all. I think he should focus on his health, though. He should get healthy. And I think the recovery time when when you're getting older is just longer. And the like, even when I tell you like all of the things he's doing, it's so much I get tired, like just thinking about it. Like he's actually doing it, and he's pretty much is a guy. He's like very kind of family oriented, but he doesn't have a family of his own. Like he's all of his focus is for other people. And I get the intention. Like it's such a beautiful story that Sharman Joshi says that he met him at a party. He said, I don't have any work. And Salman says, you're in Sikandar, right? But wouldn't it be good if Sikandar was actually a good movie? Wouldn't that be a better story, right? Like if Sharman Joshi has actually something good to do instead of just being Ji Saab behind him, right? There's nothing for him to do there. And you can say that about Sharman Joshi. You can see that of all of the bodyguards behind Salman in this movie. Clearly, these are guys that have been trying to become actors for like 20 years, 15 years, strugglers, right? And this is their moment, and Salman has given them this moment, right? And he did this with Kisi Ka Bhai, Kisi Ka Jaan too. Like he did that with Antim, like his brother-in-law. Like he's just giving these people a leg up where they don't, like, that's not what he needs to do. I think he should tone it down. He needs to not make a big budget masala movie anymore. He needs to work with people like Anurag Kashyap. He needs to work with people like Sriram Raghavan. Like that's this, like take it smaller scale. Do what Don Lee is doing. I think we spoke about Radhe, but that's the mistake Radhe did. It took a Don Lee movie and make it a masala movie. Make a Don Lee movie and make it a Don Lee movie. If he could make Unstoppable, I think Unstoppable would be an amazing Salman project. Or if he made even like that other movie, it was I'm just pulling it up. It's the gangster, the cop, and the devil.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Like how Salman would rock it.
You know who should direct it?
Don Lee.
Vasan Bala.
That's these are the names. Like we are getting excited. Vikramaditya Motwani. You're not telling me Salman makes a call, and he cannot get these people do not have a project ready for Salman. They don't are dying to work with Salman. That's what he needs. He needs to tone it down and make those kind of movies. Don Lee has this thing in Roundup where he comes in, and this is what Amrita is saying about bringing your filmography back. Don Lee comes into it. It's like every Roundup movie starts like that. They're like something has happened in the town, and he just walks in and he slaps somebody, and that's the start of the movie. Imagine that is Salman's entry. There's somebody harassing somebody, some small thing. It's not like rape on a first class flight. It's not that. It's just somebody harassing a shop owner. Salman Khan comes in and then slaps the shit out of him. That is masala. That is what we need. But
I'll tell you what the problem is with this grand plan, and that is Salman.
Yeah.
Because, like, do you remember like a few years ago when Katrina, not a few years ago, maybe like 10, 15 years ago, when Katrina would go around telling in her interviews, you've only seen about 5% of what Salman can do. And I used to think, like, where is she getting that number from? And like, why is she saying that? And then I saw Salman say the same thing in one of his interviews, and I realized that she's basically been listening to Salman say it about himself. That, like but the thing is, the way that Salman says it, it's almost proud, like he's almost like, Dekha, like just with 5% of effort, look at what I have achieved. And I'm like, sir, like you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you cannot fool people 100% of the time. Like eventually people, especially when you are standing there saying that I only put in 5% of effort, people will notice. And then people are like, why do I care so much about your work when you don't care enough about your work? Do you know what I mean?
But I think it's just what to care about when Murgados is making Sikandar, right? What is there to care about? When Sultan was there, when even Bharat was there, he cared. Bharat, he cared. Like he delivered. And that's not that long ago, right? So he can care if somebody in front of him cares.
I'll be honest, even again, now we're talking like hindsight, right? For that matter, even Tiger 3, there is caring little bit. Like it's not good, but there is at least like, you see that there's a little bit more put in.
But I'm just really like not on board with this whole idea of like, like Salman and his team that he surrounded himself with, because this is a grown ass man of 60 years old. He's been in the game for more than half his life. He's been a giant star for more than half his life. And if his career is at this point today, then the only person that I can really blame is Salman. Like, it's not like he's choosing his own team. He's not being like given this team by some unseen force.
I think this is Salman's problem, is the problem of Marvel movies in the current era. Like, the machine is so big, to turn it around, so much needs to happen, right? Like, and I think that's kind of the problem. Until we get to the next phase of Marvel movies, where the movies maybe will become decent, we don't even know if they will become decent again, right? But we have gone through this phase where everything has been bad since Infinity War. And I think Salman is the same thing. Everything has been bad since Sultan, right? Like, moments like Tiger 3 had moments.
Tiger Zinda Hai was after Sultan, so let's not.
Oh, okay. Was it? Oh no,
Yeah,
Tiger Zinda Hai was legit. Well, I
yeah,
love that
yeah.
movie.
'Cause
Legit love
I
that
also
movie.
thought it was Sultan. Then I went back to check, and Tiger Zinda Hai came in 2017. So it's
This
a
is
year
Harun's
after.
fault. He said Sultan, so I had
I
it in
also
my
thought
head.
Sultan, and then I double checked.
Tiger Zinda Hai is amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been this block of phase of movies, and it just takes a long time to kind of switch. That's my theory. That's my hopeful, positive theory. Maybe Amrita is right. Maybe, yeah, he is a grown man and he should make better decisions. But I think the machinery around him is so big that he's a one-man industry, unfortunately. And I think that's why Shah Rukh also is that way now. And that's why he had to actively pull away from everything to recoup. And I think Shah Rukh also just had the luck that he did that when COVID was happening. Salman just kept working like an idiot, right?
I think Shah Rukh also is lucky in that he has kids who are also in the industry. Like, you cannot tell me that Aryan Khan doesn't tell Shah Rukh on like a weekly basis that he's cringe,
Yeah.
Like,
Also, Shah Rukh's filmography is not based on his body. Like, it's his physical body. And I think that's what's breaking with Salman, right? Like, you cannot keep doing it. Like, Akshay transferred, transitioned to the kind of movies he's making. They're not great, but it's not body-based anymore, right? But Salman still is. And I think that's just kind of a problem for him.
I'd say even Hrithik did that. I mean, Hrithik tried Beach Me, but I think now, especially with War, like, because he was with Tiger, he actively was like, okay, it's not about like my hotness anymore.
Yeah, a Fighter he also did. You can really back to
I didn't watch Fighter.
I didn't see him, but I saw the person he was training with because I follow Chris Gettin. I use his workouts a lot and stuff like that, so I was kind of following all of that stuff. And he didn't look good anymore. Like, he went too far. But anyway, Hrithik is a whole thing. We already talked about it. Any final thoughts on Sikandar, Sujoy?
When the first teaser arrived of Sikandar with the samurais.
Where were the samurais?
It's all lies.
Samurais.
This is what the movie is.
Lies. It's like the body thing where he's like, "Baad mein aayegi." Where are the samurais? I was waiting.
Sab jhoot hai.
Nothing.
Like Amrita sort of assured us ki itni bhi buri nahi hai. And then I was like, the first scene happened and I was like, this is quite enjoyable. I really like the action scene. And then it just kept on getting bad and worse. Like the BV ke saath relationship is just so terribly written. Then the whole ship of Theseus with the donated organs thing happens, and then the villain happens, Pratik Babbar and Katappa and none of it makes sense. Everything is terrible about this movie. I hated it. But the silver lining is it's not as bad as Kisi Ka Bhai Kisi Ki Jaan. But am I supposed to celebrate that?
Why doesn't he work with Farah Khan?
Yeah.
Why is he not like doing
when sorry, Amrita, when Salman started crying and I was thinking of Janeman, how beautifully he was crying in Janeman, and I was like, wo Salman kab aayega wapas, it just felt so terrible. Like, this is a very cheap like Timu version of Salman Khan that we are getting.
Like, Salman and Farah would make so much sense.
Yeah. And you watch the BTS of Zora Jabin, they're having such a good time. So Farah has amazing ideas. She can call Salman's bullshit. Clearly, she can call everybody's bullshit. That's what Salman needs. I wanted to add that because I only said male names, but Farah Khan is it's so simple.
Yeah.
It's so simple to do Farah's next movie. If Farah cannot get Shah Rukh to commit, go to Salman. They've been doing, hula hoop dances for a while. Yamini, final thoughts? Any random notes on Sikandar?
Maybe Shah Rukh should talk Salman into taking a break. I don't know. Maybe that might work.
एक और थप्पड़ मार देगा उस शाहरुख को, like और कुछ नहीं.
Oh dear.
But yeah, I mean, again, it's the thing is, I'm not expecting कि okay, like पुराना Salman वापस आ जाएगा कहीं से भी कैसे तो भी, but I'm like, at least like from now, little bit try to and like with what Amrita said, like it is him. It is like he is a grown ass man. Like he's hitting his 60s this year. Like little bit like be an adult man. like like
Stop being a virgin, Salman. Stop being a virgin.
Yeah, I mean, it's like take your own plates to the kitchen, like Salman.
I just want to see him like I want I just want to see him in competent film. I'm not even saying good filmmaking at this point. I'm saying competent filmmaking like that. Like it just like what is the most basic thing? Ki like hero aaya conflict hai. Hero, how does he get over the conflict? End. Khatam. This is like none of his last few films have been that also. Like it's like kaun sa conflict, kahe ka conflict. Like kahin to conflict tha, but like yaad bhi nahi hai end tak ki kya hai conflict. Like I agree. Maybe he shouldn't have to take a break. Maybe he can just take care of his health. But I just need to see him in something that makes me excited about seeing him again. Like I was excited about Tiger 3, jo theek hai kya tha, but just competent filmmaking, not even good filmmaking. It's okay.
Amrita, any final random notes about Sikandar?
I think we've all spoken at length about how terrible Salman is in this film and various other people. But I also want to give a special shout out to Kajal Agarwal, who doesn't look like anything on earth. Like, I don't know what kind of work she's had done, but she does not look like she belongs in that family in Matunga. And she does not look like she belongs in any family on earth. And I've seen her work before in Telugu, and she was a fairly competent actress. But in this film, my God, she is.
She looks like in a
horrendous.
sari commercial.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell is happening, but her face, the fillers in her lips, which are like from 2019, like it's just bad.
There was a point with Kajal where she was in everything. She had acted with all the heroes in Telugu cinema. Like she was, and I guess this is like her comeback because I completely forgot that she was in this also. Because I had literally not seen anything since the first teaser with the samurais. So, ठीक है क्या है कि?
Yeah. This is
I thought we were being harsh on the movie, and now you end with Kajal Agarwal's 2019 fillers. Like that's how we end this review.
I think we've spoken enough about Salman, and I think the consensus is that Salman needs to do something because this is not working, bro.
Bro,
Yeah. I mean,
we need to end with bro from Race 3.
Yeah, I'm just sad. I think it's a sad state of affairs that this is the Eid movie we got. Like it's used to be a momentous time, waiting for Salman's movie on Eid. We all go together as a group and like have fun, and nobody wants to see a bad movie. We're not here to watch Tommy Wiseau, right? We want to see Salman Khan give us the hero that we've been having, has been filling up our screen for so long. Like, but this is not it. Like, this is not it, and like I mean, I've said enough what I think should change, what shouldn't change. But you are right. The only person that can change is Salman. He has to make that decision. It's the same point I made about Shah Rukh. Like, Shah Rukh is the one deciding not to make a rom-com with Taboo or with Juhi. Is the same thing that Salman is the one deciding to work with Ahmed Khans and the Remo Fernandez and the Prabhu Devas and the the Murga Dos. When Sanjay Leela Bhansali was there, when Atlee was there, and he couldn't make it work, whatever reason there was, even like, I'm not a fan of Atlee, but I think at least something interesting might have happened there. Where you have a Murga Dos, you have a Prabhudeva, nothing interesting will happen there. So I think that's kind of just the problem with Sikandar, unfortunately. Yeah, this makes me very, very sad. And for this, we are going on a break. I wanted to also say, Khandaan podcast, you will have one episode, I think, of Tezab coming out. And then we're all traveling a little bit, right? I'm at least traveling. Sujoy is traveling. So there might be 1 week where there's not going to be an episode. There might be something on Patreon, though. We will see. And I think, Amrita, you and me also want to talk Wheel of Time for sure. I'm like just going through those episodes and like I'm like taking notes. Like I need to talk with Amrita about that. So yeah, very excited about that. And join our Patreon. That's where all of the things are happening. Sujoy, where can people find you?
You can find me on all my socials at 93K. You can follow Khandaan Podcast on all our socials at Khandaan Podcast. And do check out our YouTube channel at Khandaan Podcast for a lot more video content that's dropping there alongside Instagram and TikTok and all of that.
Edited by Yamini. Yamini, where can people find you online?
I'm on Twitter and Blue Sky at Pappuchaaru, and I am on Instagram at ya.minute, and also on Letterboxd at yambam because I've been doing a lot of Letterboxd lately.
So Pappuchaaru and Yambam and Yaminute, all of the good names I give you, you've not used yet. Like you've just inventing your own names.
I called her Yamamoto-san.
I still think M. Night Yamalan is still the best name out there. Amrita.
You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Amrita IQ. And as Asim was saying, the magic is happening on Patreon. We are currently running a promotion where you can basically get an annual membership at like a significant discount. And also, you can join as a free member. And we're doing this other promotion for Patreon, which means that a lot of the videos and things that would normally be behind a paywall are actually now set to public. So you can actually see a lot of the content that we publish on a regular basis on our Patreon. And it remains the best way for any of you to support us. And we are doing amazing things this year, fingers crossed. And we're not talking about it right now, but you will see it soon enough. So head over, join us, join the conversation.
And I think even I'll probably be dropping this episode on Patreon tonight. So, like, if you were a patron, you'd already been listening to this episode a couple of days ago, which is amazing, right? And I also just want to give a big shout out to Patreon because it's really the reason why we keep doing it. Because we're not doing it for the Spotify comments and the YouTube comments, So, like, it's really for our patrons. So, thank you for listening. And next week is Tezab, and then we're on a little break. But that was Sikandar.